Hey guys, this is my 2021 Alliance 370 FB, and we have an issue with it. My wife wants a tankless hot water heater, so let's fix that. Alright, so we got the Fugatti water heater, and right now we're going to see if we can extend this wire, because it's only 6 foot. Now it's a shielded cable wire. Down here, it's 24 gauge. So what I'm going to do is get a Ethernet cable. It's also 24 gauge and shielded. And we're going to see if I extend this length, if it'll still work. Because there's only 2 wires, so they're putting power through it, and they're using it as data. So let's get to chopping. Alright, now that that's connected, we're gonna use my sketchy battery. It's like a bomb. Wait a minute, hold up. Gotta click it on. Now we'll hook up the sketchy battery. And that works. Through 15 foot of Ethernet. So let's go get it installed. Alright. So now that we know that it works, we're going to finish up the connections on these with these heat shrink solder connectors. What I like to do is get the end started. And that way it'll hold it in place. And you can slide your other wire in. Do the same thing. There you go. Let the solder cool naturally. Don't pinch it, because that'll make a cold solder joint. So we're going to mount this inside, right there. So the hole will be there. Should be good enough. It's not going down. Alright, so what I did is I took off the TV booster thing, and I went from down below. I used some fish tape. Got it all the way up here. So now we're just going to fish it down. It's just a cheap generic fish tape from Harbor Freight. Shouldn't really have any issue pulling this down. There's a bunch of space down there. What you want to do when you're fishing something is make sure the pointer end here is narrow and a cone shape. That way when you pull through, it doesn't snag on something like the edge of a wall and snag. That's all I'm gonna do because I know I can fish this all the way down. I'm gonna see if I can just pull it from here. If you look back up there, you can see I've just gotten it through up there. So this will be where it's good to have a helper. Get snugged on something. Alright, so right about there. What I did was I cut a notch through the bottom so that when this sits in there, it can sit flush and you won't see the wire once I mount it. I'm going to keep this right where the hole is, about there. Just wood paneling, it's not really much to go into. Go on to the outside. I turned off the breaker to the electric water heater because I've got electric and propane. So we're going to do the other stuff. We're going to turn off the propane. And I'm going to turn off the water right there. Another thing you can do is release the water from there. And we're gonna pull the rod too, so it's not full of water. Okay. So this is a 1 1/16 for the anode rod. Just want to be careful. This is hot water. And then if you get the plastic scrapers from Harbor Freight, these do a good job getting the sealant out without marring up a bunch of stuff. Now there's a couple more screws inside. Let's get our propane line off. This is going to have quite a bit of propane in it because it's still under pressure.
I can go open the propane line on the other side.
Now that should stop. Put a lighter on there, it'll tell you when it's done. Here's my water heater. I have to come in through the other side because my water manifold is in the way. Same with my furnace. So first things first, I gotta disconnect the electrical. I already turned the breaker off, and I gotta pull the gas line out. So one moment. Okay. Next, now that that's disconnected and pulled out, I'm going to disconnect the water lines. Someone's used a wrench on this before. All right. So you have to go back and forth 16 times to get all the wires out. Shimmy it. They're ready to pull it out. I turn on the switch inside, and I'm getting my 14.6 volts. I'm on a lithium setup, so I run a higher voltage than lead acid. But I just ran, I'm going to use this brown wire as the power so that I just have that extra level of convenience of flipping the switch off on the inside and knowing it's off instead of coming out here and flipping the switch, or using the panel that's a capacitive touch and maybe turning it on when I don't need to. So I just need this brown wire is power, and I believe this white wire is ground. When I ohmed it out last, so it's 14.6. And then, yeah, white wire is ground. These other two wires are the signal wires for turning on the electric heating element and the old one. And then the other wire is the fault wire. I'm not going to be using any of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and tie these so I know that I don't need them at all. So I just finished up putting the door kit on it. Each RV is going to have a different door kit depending on what size water heater you got. I had a 10-gallon water heater, so I had to get the 18 by 18 door. Just installed it. It's just screws along the outside, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And then now I'm gonna prep the water heater for installation. All I did was I cut the wires and made clean new ends on it, because I bought this used, yeah, Amazon resale, and yeah. So in the instructions it did say to use tape, even though I think they're gasketed, but I'll throw some tape on because it's cheap and easy. And how they orient themselves is to the bottom right. So whenever you buy your door kit, it's either going to be wider this way, or wider this way and this way to compensate. It's always going to be starting on the bottom right of the corner. That's where you want to go. So, also sometimes what you might need to do is build a shelf support system on here. What Alliance has done is there's a shelf here for the bottom floor because I've got a step deck RV, and all they did was leave that piece of wood there. They didn't even screw it down. So I'm thinking I'm actually just going to screw that down after I see how it feels. You also might need to adjust your lines or recrimp them. It looks like my red one I could pretty much stick wherever. Put my blue one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to extend that. All right, so I just got a little kit on Amazon. It comes with some crappy cutters and the crimping tool. If you want to spend your money on the better set, I recommend it. These ones kind of suck, but I don't do that many of them, so I don't really care. This kit comes with a bunch of straight fittings, T-fittings, and elbows. I also got another kit of 1/2-inch crimp connectors for pecs. This kit does come with like a couple of each, but they're not the greatest quality. These ones are better. And so what I'm going to do, since my cold water line has to be over here. So what I'm going to do is just cut it there. The easiest to just do everything you need to do outside of the RV. I'm going to make sure it's a flat connection, and then you want your crimp connector to land on these two ridges, basically, so that you're sealing against two surfaces. And you're gonna get it in here, and as soon as you get it started once, then you're good. But I've got about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch over the plastic, so I can see the end of the plastic. As soon as it starts ratcheting, you're fine. And then you just squeeze it until it releases. It crimps it flat. That's a good solid connection. And then you're good to go. Be about here. If you get that first click, you're good to go. Come on. Okay. Got our electrical connectors. I think Wago is fine for 12-volt stuff, but for the 120-volt stuff, your RV bounces around too much for that. So, black to white. I'm gonna go red to brown, if I can. Probably have turned this off. Let's get our propane started so I don't have to do it on the inside. This connector should match up. One of these adjustable wrenches from Harbor Freight. You need to get yourself one. Alright, so I don't know where my slippery water is, but I got a lighter. It's for professionals only. Do not check with the lighter. Yeah, we're good, see? But use soapy water. It's actually easier because you can see the bubbles. Alright, so we're ready to stab this guy in. Okay, so we're back in here. I'm just running my wire for the controller back here. I'm going to connect it to these two wires. So I got this finished up. I got the cold water line on and the red water line on. I got the connector for the display hooked up. And then I actually had to extend this red hose. It just wasn't there enough to fit to the back side. So I'm gonna pre-drill the holes. If you don't pre-drill the holes, it can start cracking your siding. So you want to select the appropriate drill bit and then make sure your bottom right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through. Don't use silicone from the hardware store. You want to use GeoCell, Proflex, or my favorite's Lexel. I had to touch up like 2 tiny areas, so I have this DAP Ultra Clear. I've been testing it out, the RV Tech on TikTok. Also uses this. This is not the most friendly to use. It doesn't good. I did put the foam on the back of it, so there's some more protection there. It should seal against the foam. This is a secondary flashing type of caulk, so if rain hits it, hopefully it'll come over and drain. Alright, so there you go guys, that's how you install a Fagatti InstaShower 9 Pro in your RV. Thanks for watching.